Welcome to the Model Rail Replacement Podcast, helping you get to your onward journey. A friendly service that helps you get from A to B, or probably nowhere at all.
Hello and welcome to the Model Rail Replacement Podcast. I'm your host, James, and with me is co-host and producer.
Sam, hello everyone.
Good evening, Sam. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing this week?
Well, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Do you know what? On our off-air conversation, I was like, I haven't done any modelling this week. And then I had a thought and I was like, I have done some modelling this week. I can't believe I completely forgot I did it. In fact, I sent you videos of what I'd built. So
Yes.
you've not, you do remember.
Yes.
Little Leonard's little shelf layout in 009.
Yes. Yes, you have done some building this week. I panicked
Yes.
then. I was like, wait a minute, I can't remember what it is. But yes, you've been building some 009. Shock
Yes.
horror to everyone listening at
Shock
home.
horror to everyone. Yes. Welcome to Narrow Minded, the Narrow Gauge podcast.
Oh no, are you going to create an offshoot podcast of George Williamson?
Hell yeah.
The thing is like, whilst I would absolutely enjoy you and George doing a narrow gauge podcast, um, who gets to be the alpha in that situation? Because you're both strong personalities.
Let's get one thing straight, shall we? I did narrow gauge videos first. Let's not forget that.
I was about to say I'm poking the bear, but you're not the bear. That's George.
Yeah. Oh, I
Welcome.
think it'd be great. Yeah, yeah. It's our narrow gauge spin-off podcast that we'll be putting together. Steve will obviously try and muscle in. Now he's doing his Barbados 009 layout and know what he's like. Glory for the fame and all that. So.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't do it for the love of the hobby, does he?
If anyone in this hobby is a grifter, it's Steve.
Yeah, take that, Essex boy.
So yes, I have been building 009 because Lenny picked up a little Egerbarn Loco back at Gaydon with a couple of wagons, and so he wanted a little layout, and I was like, well, you've got those IKEA lack shelves in your bedroom, we could just build one on there if the curves aren't too sharp, and they are very, very sharp curves, but no one has an excuse now because you can get those curves round an IKEA lack shelf and have a nice running layout. And I tested my locos, and the majority of them, including the double fairly, went round the curve. The only ones that didn't like it was Linda because she has a leading pony wheel, unlike the original mainline 100. So Charles, which is the original 040, that goes around fine. Scarlo, E-stroke Talaclin doesn't like the sharp curve that derails, and the Baldwins don't like the curves either. But every other model I have ran round. So the Peter Sam chassis would go round, the Renius chassis will go round. As I say, the double fairlies will go round. The Quarry Hunter obviously will go round. Me and you have now both own a Rocco. I'm not quite sure which German locomotive it is, but that's an 060 that goes round it as well. So
I did refer to it as the his and hers loco that we now both own.
But yeah, so we got that. I can't think what other engine I've got. I mean, I pretty much, if Bachmann's have made it in 009, I own it kind of thing. Oh yes, the Carto Small England and Large England will also go round these sharp curves. So anyone listening that's been thinking about doing 009 or just had an excuse, oh, I've got no room for a layout. That's an absolute lie because these IKEA shelves are about £10, if that, at IKEA. They're the lack floating shelf, and you can pin some narrow gauge track, a couple of points on there, and you've got yourself a nice little layout to run trains on. So from now on, I don't want any excuses of anyone of why they don't have 009 in their house. That's all I'm saying.
What about if the lack of 009 locos is a thing? Because I mean, depending on where you want to get them from, they can be quite difficult to obtain, I'd say.
Yes, yes, Backman, are you listening? We'd like some more 009 locos, please, Backman. I mean, obviously they've got the Corey Hunslets coming back out. They're going to do another run of Britta Martin Alice. So that that's for the future.
How long away is that, James? How long away?
Well, I tell you what's more exciting. Sir Handel arrives next week, apparently. So then we're seeing he
Yay.
go around the curves as well. I'm very excited about that. It was always my favourite engine, and so yeah, I'm just waiting for Tony to tell me it's arrived, and I'll be popping down to his shop, picking that up, and me port of Power Twins as well. We already had a discussion last week about what a terrible time of year it is to bring models in, but they're not listening, are they?
It is just nice to actually get some locos in. I mean, for me, deprived of locos, it's actually quite nice to be getting some locos coming in. Just so happens that the ones that I've ordered are not the ones that have come in straight away.
Yeah, I thought the TT37s were supposed to have arrived last month, but
Well, that's what I thought, but evidently they're not here. I mean, at the time of recording, as we like to ruin the immersion for everyone, Peachy is currently on the shunting yard recording his TT Extravaganza, which I believe he is airing all, or he's giving away some juicy gossip of when things are turning up. So maybe he is at this very moment explaining when those 37s are turning up. In fact,
Shanty Yard are going to suss it that we purposely record when they're recording, so we don't have to listen to them, aren't they?
yeah.
Sorry, lads.
we had to do a balancing act where we recorded late enough in the week that we could try and get as much news in as possible, but also
which there is none.
No, there isn't actually any this week. But also the idea that we had to also record so it wasn't Friday, Saturday, where I'm then frantically trying to edit the episode Saturday and Sunday.
Yes, well, I mean, we did it tomorrow. I might be a bit more slurred in my speech, so
yeah, no one needs that.
No
one needs slurry, James.
They do not.
No.
Difficult to understand as it is, particularly when it comes to Welsh.
I don't think it's that you're difficult to understand. I think it's that you're difficult to pronounce.
James? How you saying my name?
Oh dear. Oh no, it's going downhill. Okay, so you've been doing some 009, no shock to anyone, but it is nice that you can fit a 009 layout on those sort of size shelves now. So I think between that and the TT branch line train set coming out, I think we're going to start seeing a real renaissance of ultra micro layouts, especially on the sort of shelves, because although having like a little shunting sort of up and down sort of end to end style thing is good, I think when it comes to the smaller space, you do sometimes just want to be able to run the things around. And I think that's what I mean. We discussed it before. I really like the idea of being able to leave something on and just have it going around. And I think it's quite nice, personally.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, you see because the other lack shelf, we are indeed we've got that branch line set, and we're planning to do just that, build a little shunting layout on there. You know, his bedroom isn't overtaken by model railways, but he's got a couple of things to play around with.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah. But those lack shelves are great for that sort of thing. I mean, you can't put point motors in because obviously you start cutting into that shelf, then the whole integrity of it collapses because it's just essentially cardboard underneath. It's just supporting the very thin ply that's laminated together.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're clever about it, you can find ways of doing it. You know, hide your point motors and little P-way huts or whatever. There's ways around it. There we are. That's no excuse from anyone else, Sam. Oh, also with that train set, I'm expecting to see a growth in 3-foot narrow gauge railways now because obviously TT120 is perfect for modelling that. So I expect to see that in the future.
I do love the fact that because obviously we're going back a while now, but we had Mitch, our Australian friend, on talking about how he models Australian narrow gauge, and he said to me one of the best things about TT120 being brought out by Hornby and Pico was that the Australian modelers suddenly had an influx of being able to purchase the narrow gauge track that they needed because it was a lot more readily available thanks to TT. I was like, you're welcome.
There you go. Yeah. Superb stuff. So what have you been doing?
What have I been doing? I have been boxing in. I don't know if that's the right technical term for it, but effectively, so if you're looking dead straight at my layout on the left-hand side, where it goes up the curved incline, what I've been doing is slowly but surely with foam board, I have been boxing it in to effectively create the scenic break and break or to continue the immersion. I'm not entirely sure which one it is, but effectively by having the goes under that sort of girder bridge and then it looks like it disappears off towards one side when actually it curves up and then comes out the other side. So just effectively putting in a sort of scenic break that I can lift on, lift off, and then hopefully I'll be able to start working on scenics. But it is quite nice because it means that you do have the loco sort of going off scene and then they sort of reappear from somewhere else. So it does give you a little bit of that break, and also it dampens the sound a little bit when they go into that sort of tunnel area. So that's nice. I quite like that. That's what feels like I've been doing the most. But then also within the last sort of night or two, I've been I bought some of the Model X kits in TT from I bought them from eBay because on their website they don't have the TT stuff, but it is on their eBay site. And I bought these like months ago now. And I've just sort of slowly been building like a little kit here and there, a little part of it. And I just bought some like little warehouses and some little factory bits that they're just there mostly to populate parts of the layout when I start putting down scenery and buildings and stuff. Um, they are they're quite pretty kits. I'd say in terms of TT, if you're looking for something that's pre-painted, then they're great. I will say they look fine from afar, but there's a few bits to them where the instructions, it's either the instructions aren't thorough enough or the parts aren't as simple as you think they're going to be, or they're very, very tiny. Which I mean, I've got spam hands and I'm not very good at scratch building, so that's probably it. But they are nice pre-painted kits that you can put on your layout. I had like a block of flats or an office block that I built back in it must have been the end of the summer, and it looks great when it's built up. So I've got a few little factory officey blocks that look very central London that you'd have sort of randomly placed in random areas, and hopefully they sort of build up parts of the layout as well. But yeah, mostly blocking in and trying to sort of have it where you see the locos go off and then they reappear somewhere else is the main idea, rather than actually seeing them go up the incline.
Sounds like you've got a bit of progress going on there then.
I do. I'm finally having sort of. I'm not having as much hobby time as sometimes I'd like, but it's sometimes by the time little one goes to bed, you just sort of sit down for a little bit and you're like, oh, I can't be bothered to get back up now. So, I mean, I had some great fun running trains. I actually had Danny from Various Multiple Units come over, and he came to see the layout, and we had some lunch, and we just sort of chilled out for a little bit, and we had a little bit of a chinwag, put the world to rights sort of thing, and he got to see the layout. I believe in his own words, he was genuinely impressed with how much you can fit in the small space up here. Um, and it's that sort of thing of your mind sometimes thinks it's N, sometimes thinks it's double O, and that was sort of one of the things that we talked about a little bit, as well as some sort of super secret squirrel EMU things that I'm going to be doing in the future. And Danny's been giving me some pointers on it, which is quite nice. I can't remember where I was going with the story, but yeah, Danny came round, saw the layout, and yeah, it was just nice to sort of hang out with him. And then we went off and ran trains up at Fareham for a little bit as well.
There we are. Yeah, it's good. Good to know that Danny's out and about.
Unfortunately, due to legal reasons, the Model Rail Replacement Podcast has had to remove this segment. Unfortunately, most of this segment is James and Sam talking about a certain someone sending us pictures of themselves naked. We decided to remove this and not name that person. We'll let you try and figure out who.
Dear, oh dear. Never mind. Never mind. Right, that's enough talk about 009. If you want any more of that, then you'll have to join Narrow Minded with me and George Williamson, the new spin-off podcast starting in 2026.
Oh, please don't actually start it. I'll be really sad. He's my friend, George. He's mine. Okay, you don't want to see me when I'm really sad because I don't really get angry. I just get sad.
Look at his little face.
So, James, now that we've talked a lot about ourselves, mainly because we're filling because there's no news this week, have we got any news?
Well, we do have news about our charity appeal.
Yeah, we do. Go on then, James, for the last reminder for our listeners, because obviously by the time this comes out, you will have 1 week to put in your donations and your last week to enter into the raffle. But James, where are we currently sat with our donations and our raffle?
We are currently sat at over £3,000. I believe about £3,145 as we speak. With the addition of gift aid, which I think is about £700, we're getting near to the £4,000 mark. So thank you very much, everybody who has donated towards this worthy cause. It's amazing. I don't think we expected to get it that high, did we? We were concerned that the value of the prizes would be more than the money made, but I think you've outdone yourselves, everyone, and I think we've exceeded or broke even at least. So. But yes, yeah, we've done that, and obviously we are so thankful for all the various businesses and various YouTubers, Instagram accounts that have sent us prizes. We've still got stuff coming through the post, haven't we? I know Sawyer Models have sent us a couple of narrow gauge buildings. They should be with me tomorrow. Bunter's Yard sent a couple of Bunter's Yard wagons. They arrived with me today. Neil at the Little Layout Company has sent two of his brand new MLC model light controller units to be given away, and a sound fitted BR Blue large logo Hellion Class 47. So that's all being put in the prize pot. I think the Model U confirm it was a £25 gift voucher they're going to be giving away.
It is indeed a £25 gift voucher from Model U. So thank you very much to you guys there. Train Sporters are sending some stuff over. That's not their fault that it's not here. It's completely my fault. I spoke with Mark at Getz and then I completely forgot to email him after Getz like he told me to. He was like, yeah, no, I'd love to. Just drop me an email after this weekend. I was like, yeah, of course I will. And I got distracted by shiny things.
Yeah, there we are. And yeah, we're hoping that obviously it's a busy time of year for Hornby, but we should see the train sets. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Ideally, in time so we can put them on social media, but otherwise, we'll just tell you what they are. You have an email to confirm, don't you?
Yes, I do have a physical email of Hornby confirming that they will be donating. So somehow you will be getting your train sets from Hornby. There is a TT 120 Flying Scotsman set. There is the Santa Express Christmas tree set, which is great. It's a great little train set. Having seen it in person, it is a fun thing. Sadly, you won't get it in time for this Christmas. And then also it is the iTraveller train, which is the little 040 diesel shunter that operates via Bluetooth in a train set form, which is very cool.
Yes, very cool indeed. So yeah, we're going to start working out how we're going to divide these prizes up, because I think we're going to have 4 categories of a first, second, third, and fourth winner. We're going to put them into bundles, and then we'll announce who was the fourth place, who was third, second, first, etc. First place will then get first pick of the bunch, second gets second, and so on and so forth, and fourth will get whatever's left over. Sorry, but you still win something. We thought that would probably be the best way to do the raffle.
Yes.
So, there we are. So if you haven't donated and you want to win these prizes, then you need to hop over to Just Giving, search for MERP, and it will pop up as the first search result. Donate £5 to get your entry, and then every other £5 you donate will buy you another entry. And as Sam says, you've got until the 14th of December to do this, and then we are doing our draw. It's UK residents only because, as you may have gathered, the prize pot is quite large and will cost quite a bit to post just for the UK. So sending it to the rest of the world is just not feasible, I'm afraid. But if you would like to donate anyway, it's most appreciated. On another note, if you put a donation in under anonymous, we cannot put you in the draw because we don't know who you are. So please bear that in mind when you donate. I think that covers it all, doesn't it, Sam?
Yes, it does. In terms of other news regarding ourselves, obviously, this is the time of year where we get Spotify Wrapped coming in. And once again, you listening at home have all been very, very good little Merpers. Is that that's the phrase that we're using, is it? You're all good Merpers.
Well, I wanted to use maggots, but Slipknot had already taken that one. So,
yeah. Let's go with Merpers then. I'm not a big fan of maggots. And although by the looks of it, we didn't make the top 50 again this year in the UK, which is a shame. But the fact that we did it in at least once is still very, very good.
Amazing for a railway model podcast.
Well, yeah, exactly. But also, one thing that really blew me away, and I sent James as many of the stats as I possibly could. It's not great at sharing in terms of trying to send your friend the video about the podcast that you both do together. But one thing that I thought was amazing was how many people, not only did we appear in their top 5s, so if you don't use Spotify, what they do every year is they sort of do this thing called Wrapped, where they tell you about your music, they tell you about like the genres you like, your top 5s and stuff like that. But they also do a podcast part of it as well. And we then get notified of how we do in that in terms of how many minutes, hours, what the increase or decrease in people listening to our podcast is just to clarify, we had an increase in people. Thank you so much, everybody. But they also tell you who your top 5 podcasts are that you listen to. And not only did we make it into a lot of people's top 5s, we made it into a considerable amount of people's number 1 spot. So massive thank you to anyone who listened to us enough that we made it into that spot. I was blown away. I think James was as well. I think I've narrowed it down to they tell you who is in the top percentage of your listeners over the year, and I think I know who the top 2 people are. I'm just trying to work out because they tell you who's in the top 0.5%, and I mean they're great fans. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. But thank you to everyone who's listened to us over the last year, because it's little things like this that we don't always get sort of a notification of how we're doing. I can see the stats and I share them with James and things like that. But this is something that sort of puts it all together for us in a very easy to digest form. And it's quite nice for me just going to James, here's how we did this year. And both of us being like, yay, clink.
Indeed. Yes. Very, very, very satisfying results, I reckon.
I was happy with it.
There's no news. Well, as part of that, I don't know what to do because there's no news. I suppose maybe we could tell everyone what the Christmas special is now as well, couldn't we?
Oh, yes. So we basically secretly deemed that if we hit 3,000, we would tell everyone in advance what the Christmas special is. So, James, what is it?
Well, we thought we'd be really original, really, really original, and we'd take a classic tale by a classic author, and we just did a Merp version of Christmas Carol.
When you say the author, you mean Jim Henson, yeah?
No, it was actually written by a guy called Charles Dickens.
Charlie?
Not from Chadwick, no.
Oh, a different Charles. Right, okay, fair enough. Oh, okay, I didn't realize he did it. But yeah, no, yeah, and I must say, it has been thoroughly enjoyable doing it. No lie, we're still working on it. But from what we have already, I'm very, very excited for you to all listen to it. It is because somebody questioned whether it was actually model railway related, and it is a model railway themed rendition of A Christmas Carol. I believe we've officially named it Merpit's Christmas Carol.
Merpit's Christmas Carol, indeed. Yep, and it's got a stellar cast too. We've got some fabulous actors coming on it. We've got the likes of Tom. Yes, that's right. Tom, the famous Tom Marshall from Buggles Kelly Station.
Yep.
We've got...
we've got George Williamson.
Yes, George Williamson. Yes, the George. Yeah, we've got...
Steve... What is Steve's last name? I can't even remember. Steve the British Railroader.
Yep.
Because no one's going to know his last name, are they?
Yeah, we've got Laurie. Yeah, not Hugh Laurie, but Laurie's Mechanical Marvels. Laurie. He's making his first appearance on the podcast in the Christmas special.
Yes, he is.
due to a diary conflict that he didn't come in
earlier. We've also got Joseph from That Model Railway Guy. We've got Peachy TT120, as well as a few other guests coming back. We've been very coy about the whole thing in the fact that even those who are appearing on the show have not heard everything. The only person who's heard everything is Tom, me, and James. And that's solely because, I mean, Tom made it very obvious with the little poster he made for us. Tom is going to be playing Scrooge or Chester Worselton. James is going to be narrating. I've been editing it and producing it and thrown in a few slapdash voices here and there. And then we've obviously got all our little bits. But we wanted to make it so that even those who have appeared in it don't know the whole story, or they don't know everything that's going on. And we've tried to keep it special so that even when they finally get a chance to listen, they will be surprised by parts of it as well.
Yeah. So it's enjoyable all round. So, yep, that will be our Christmas special. And then if you're wondering, well, how am I going to find out if I'm winning the raffle or not? Well, as each ghost visits, I suppose we might just call out a name.
Yeah, that sounds good.
You have to wait and see. So there we are. Right then, Sam, shall we go talk about something?
Yeah, let's go have a chat. Let's not even tell anyone what it's about. Let's just leave it until we finally jump back in.
We're winging it.
Boom, 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 boom.
It was a dark, rainy day in Porthbury, and Lord Chester stood in his porch with sorrow in his heart.
I can't believe he's gone, Wilson.
Yes, sir. It is all very sad. I have the car waiting. And, sir, you are going to leave it at home, as promised.
Yes, I'll leave it here.
Whilst in the car,
What will I do now, Wilson?
Maybe you'll have to learn to do it yourself.
I blame that bloke who kept badgering him about a poor job.
Quite, sir. Well, here we are.
Wilson opens an umbrella and Lord Chester steps out of the car and surveys the funeral.
Oh, look, they're all here to pay their respects. There's John. He always loved his work. And there's my cousin, Lord Chester the First.
Chester, it's so good to see you. Such a terrible, terrible day.
It is. Oh, look, here comes the hearse.
There he is. I can't quite believe he's gone.
I know, but at least we'll have something to remember him by.
Sir, you promised not to bring that. Don't get it out here. Not at a funeral.
No, I'm getting it out. It's what he would have wanted.
Blimey, he's got his dirty shunner out.
I say, chaps, watch it. You're losing the coffin.
The coffin is dropped with a mighty crash. Sam's body falls out of the coffin. Oh, blimey! Quick, lads, help me get him back in.
Look at that.
So fresh. So clean.
Like he's straight out of the box.
And now, he's all dirty.
Oh, even in death he's still at it. A god amongst men.
Emperor's Path is now closed for business.
What should I do now, Wilson?
You could always treat yourself to a little layout.
Sam was little.
Right then, Sam. Let's have a topic discussion this week then, shall we? Do you know what I was wondering? Why is it always British summertime on a layout? Why do we never see, or very, very rarely, ever see any other sort of weather on there?
Oh, I didn't know if you were going to lead in with anything on that, so I'm going to just pretend that didn't happen and go, I don't know, James. I think it's because people have this idea that there is a British summertime, and it is very easy to model, or people believe it's easy to model. But I think aesthetically, I think some of the other seasons are just as good, and sort of sometimes the actual weather is just as good as that nice big shining summertime. And I think you brought it up previously on the podcast. People add lighting to their locos and their coaches and their buildings and all this sort of stuff, but actually British summertime doesn't actually get dark until 9:30 at night, and then by that point barely any trains are running.
Yes, that's exactly it, isn't it? It's that kind of, what lights in their buildings, and but it's summer, so it's like, well, it's light from 4 to 11, in the middle of June. So it's an odd one, but it's kind of like, our summers aren't as sunny as what model railways tend to make them out to be. I mean, I don't know. Maybe back in the 1960s they were as sunny as that with the old rose-tinted spectacles. I don't know, but it does tend to rain a bit during the summer, and you never see anyone really model rain. I think I've seen one layout in Railway Modeller, which was like a narrow gauge sort of mine sort of layout, and that was depicting it raining, like puddles and everything, sort of get a gloss coat on it and sort of shiny and I've never really seen anyone else attempt it, to be honest.
Well, that was going to be my next question: is how do you model rain? Because obviously, rain is very much a moving thing most of the time. I mean, you can do gloomy and you can do dark and dingy, but how would you model rain when it comes to a model railway?
I actually did try to model rain once. So a long time ago, I built a very small little narrow gauge layout. It was just a loop and a siding. And I thought I'd give it an attempt to make it look like, a shower just sort of passed through. So it all started with modeling puddles with, the little technique where you get a bit of perspex and you put like a dirty brown color on the bottom of it, and then you'll put it on the layout so the shiny side up, and then use a bit of DAS clay or whatever to mold around the side to make it look like a hole in the ground. And obviously that's why the puddle's there.
Hmm.
So I had to go a couple of them, and I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to try and make it look like it's just rained through here. And my answer was gloss, very shiny gloss. I glossed everything. So the buildings all got a gloss coating on the roof. The car park, I painted it down and made it as it were, and then just put a coat of gloss varnish on the top of that. And then it gave it that shine. And when you like put vehicles on there, everything reflected in the light, and it looked quite effective. But I don't know if that's a commitment you might want to do on a larger layout, because obviously once you start painting everything in a sort of a gloss varnish, um, it's kind of ruined for anything else, sort of thing.
It's an interesting one. I mean, I know our friend Tom uses the Perspex method for puddles a lot. I think most of his dioramas that he does, he features that little effect, and it works with great, great effect. But I mean, another way you could have a look at it is obviously a lot of the time, as well as having the sort of the puddles and that sort of glossy effect and everything, you also have your lighting, and I'm guilty of this as well. Your lighting in your back scene massively depict what sort of weather and time of year it can be based on whether it's, I mean, like you say, usually it's a big blue sky with lots of lush green trees and all that sort of stuff in the background. But the the tone of the background and the sort of the tone of the lighting can really depict how dark, gloomy, and grim it can be. And with rain, obviously, usually it gets a little bit darker, everything gets a little bit more grey. On the back scene for my exhibition layout, I deliberately went for a much darker grey back scene colour because I wanted it to emit that sort of gloomy, Portsmouth, grimy effect on the scene. And I think modelling it, you do have to start with things like that of having, rather than having that really nice bright blue sky with the bright sunshine and stuff, you do have to go for more your greys and your whites and your stuff like that to sort of help bring the tone of everything down.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, so your back scene sort of should really show what the weather is, I suppose, shouldn't it? Like the grey clouds. And again, the sky's usually grey anyway. I mean, especially in the winter, you barely see the sunshine. So it kind of makes sense to sort of do it that way. And I think, yeah, it makes things more atmospheric, doesn't it? I think, depending on what you're modeling, like a grimy industrial scene feels more set in if there's like these dark grey looming clouds all around. There's nothing really joyous about the occasion. But it's a wonderful bit of modeling because you've just built a little sort of industrial railway to do some shunting on. So yeah, it's I think you're right though. It's sort of the colours sort of do set the mood and sort of the impression of what you're modeling. One thing I've always wondered, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone do it, but like, uh, the railway going through like flooded fields, because if you're traveling winter, particularly on the lines I use around my way, for most of it, you do feel like you're just traveling across the sea because all the fields are just absolutely, covered in floodwater. But it's nothing it's something I've never really seen modelled, and I'm not sure why, because I'm sure that would make like an interesting kind of scene of sort of building the layout, the track got a little bit of embankment, and then modeling your fields, and then just like pouring a murky resin pour over the top of it. It's kind of looked like the flood waters are there. I just don't know if that's appealing to anyone to actually model. I'd have a
I,
go
lo-
myself, but I've got too many projects on. So.
I love the idea of the picture that you've painted with that though, because I mean, I'm by no means, I'm not a massive anime fan, but I do know a few movies and stuff like that. And the image that you've given me there, having worked in your area for quite a while, or sort of on and off, and I've been in that sort of area where the banks of the Thames and the canals have burst a little bit, and you do drive through it, and it is effectively like most of that region is suddenly becomes water based. And the image that you've given me is for anyone who's, I believe the correct term is a weeb. But you've given me that image from Spirited Away, where they get on the train and effectively they drive down that sort of thing where you've got the mound, sort of the raised level of the track going through the sort of the rice fields and stuff like that. So they've got it's not up and on a bridge or anything like that. It is like a mound in the middle of a rice field. So you have that sort of wet surrounding air. I think that'd be beautiful to model that. And obviously, the type of lighting and back that you put on something like that would massively affect the feel of the scene, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you can have like little cameos, like, you've got a road bridge, the way it has just flooded underneath, and some clever person's tried to drive their vehicle through there and it's sort of flooded in, the water's gone in the engine, now they're stuck under the bridge kind of thing. You can have little details like that on there. And yeah, it was just one of the ideas sort of popped in my head kind of thing. It's like, trying to think outside the box of the traditional summer themed layout. Obviously, as you know, and most listeners know, I'm quite fond of modelling autumn, just because the trees give off that, that lovely yellow to red shades in the leaves. I think it just makes things feel a little bit more brighter, even though it's a bit cold. That it feels brighter, but it also feels colder because you can tell it's autumn. And like I say, you've got a better excuse for having your lights on in your buildings because it's that time of year kind of thing.
Mm.
And then obviously there's the snow scenes that you can model. That's something I've always wanted to try. I don't know about yourself. I've always wanted to try modeling a snow scene and just haven't got round to giving it a go because I'm always tempted. It always feels more tempting to do the summer stuff, getting your static grass applicator out and putting your trees in full leaf. But having seen some of the wonderful layouts out there in the exhibition that have modelled snow, in particular, I'm thinking of that lovely Moore's View N-Gauge layout.
Mm.
Where it's just spectacular, and that white blanket of snow across it, and it feels cold when you look at it. And again, like you say, on that back scene, the sky's grey,
Mm.
and it's sort of hemmed in. You can see the dark, thick clouds full of snow that have just passed over.
You have that
Um,
beautiful contrast as well, because nine times out of ten, anything that's traveling through there isn't going to be white. So you suddenly have that beautiful thing where you've got all this white sort of going through, and then you almost have it where no matter what loco or rolling stock is traveling through there, it's such a high contrast to what's going on in the scene. Is they both sort of counteract each other, and they're almost battling for your attention. You're going, oh, look at these trees covered in snow. Oh, look at that sort of verge. Oh, there's a train, and it's blue, covered in dirt and grime because the tracks are disgusting and filthy and all that. I mean, this is ideal situation for me. Um, but it is very much that sort of thing of I'm a big fan of adding that high contrast. And for me, I like to have it where I do have opposing colours working against each other because they draw your eye to it more. So like having that sort of that dirty sort of stone colour versus the BR blue and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think the snow's a fantastic one because you do all this work and all this sort of colour, but you're almost setting a new boundary by adding the layer of white on top. And I think we've had a spate over the last week, 2 weeks, where people were uploading pictures of their layouts and doing sort of like an AI snow filter type thing on it. It personally, it's not for me, but it was nice seeing people's like renditions of like their layouts with snow and stuff, especially when you've seen the layout in the green era, shall we say, and then all of a sudden there is snow on it. It definitely adds a massive effect with what they're trying to do.
yeah, it was definitely interesting to see it that way. And I think the thing with winter is it's always sort of that natural thought to think, modelling winter, I'm going to model snow. But, as we know, for most of the winter, it doesn't actually snow. It's just cold.
Yeah.
And I've, the other one is like frosts, like modelling a February morning frost is, I think, quite an attractive scene. And I think it's Heaton Lodge, the big O gauge layout.
Hmm.
I think that one is set sort of during the frost of a February morning, and it's quite a good effect, and they've got to the details of modeling the car, so the windscreen's frosted up and things like just those little things. And I suppose it's going back to the same with the snow. It's like, modeling the footprints of where someone's walked around. Those little extra details you have to pay attention to that you don't really have to think about when you're modeling summer. But again, I think if you get it right, sort of just giving like the sort of dead winter grass just a little light dusting with the airbrush of like a white color, just to make it look like there's a frost settled on it. And I think that can be quite effective as well. Because, I've looked through books of, real life trains, and, some of the ones that stick in my mind are photos from around sort of, January, February time, and then a nice frosty morning of a loco passing through. And there's something about that scene that I quite like. And I think that would probably be quite nice to model. It's just the attraction of summer always seems to be the winner, doesn't it?
I think it's because the sort of, and this doesn't take away from people modeling summer, to clarify, but I think it's because it's that natural. If you're going to add light to your layout, the easiest form of light is that sort of that bright sunshine feel. But I think it's very easy to forget that, yes, whilst you are right, you don't see the sun that often during the winter time. When you get a clear sky, it's still cold. It's still dirty, grimy, gringy because all the roads have been gritted up and salted and all that sort of stuff. But the sun can come out and everything can be really bright still. And I think that's where I think this actually probably moves more onto lighting. And if you're in need of a new lighting setup to sort of help you adjust and achieve the tones and colors that you're after, might I suggest that the little layout company model light controller is definitely a fantastic thing that you could get for your layout. There's lots of different ways of doing it. I mean, I've had it where I've had sort of like a cheap LED strip that I've put in the top of a layout, but then that very much is a case of it's got a dimmer switch with it, so you turn it up, you turn it down, and I think there are ways of doing it, but I like this whole new RGB sort of style where you're able to adjust the tones. So you make it more of a warm tone, you make it more of a sort of sunset tone, and all these sort of different colors that you can put into your lighting. And I think the lighting also massively changes everything that's going on the layout, because obviously you need to find that balance of good enough lighting for you to take nice photos, but you also need to get it so it's more realistic lighting to go with it as well. Is that something that you've sort of tried doing in the past, or is that something you've quite struggled with?
I've never really done any sort of additional lighting to the layout because I've never really get that far usually. But I do like to take my layouts outside and photograph them in natural light.
Mm.
For that very reason, that the light always makes the model. That's it. That's the line. The light always makes the model. It's just, because it does. It as soon as you take that model outside and you've got the sun shining on it and it creates the shadow, it feels more realistic. And again, I obviously model autumn, and I've taken those layouts out in the middle of summer to take photos. But because of the way the trees are coloured and all the grasses and everything like that, even though it's photos are done in nice sort of August, July sunshine,
Mm.
when you look at the photos, it feels like a sort of mild October, November
Mm.
day. And yeah, so yeah, the light, I think you're right. It can really make the effect that you're after.
Brilliant. So, is there something that you recommend for particular seasons, like certain types of color schemes, or is there sort of something that you think? Because obviously we struggle enough sometimes to find pictures of the thing we're trying to model. So, say for example, I'm struggling to find 1980s to sort of 1990s pictures of Vauxhall, Clapham Junction, and stuff like that for the thing I'm after. I'm after a very specific point in time. Um, and I wonder, is there something that you think really, really helps make a difference towards your scene, shall we say, to sort of bring it a bit more to life than if you just sort of model the generic summer?
Yeah, I think if you pay attention to the time of year that you're trying to aim your layout at, and if you're just happy to just it's summer, it's somewhere in summer, that's fine. Or you could go right down to the extremes of like Pendon do, where they go, I think it's the 20th of August on a Monday. That's when this layout's set because the washing's out, so that's wash day, so that's why it's there. It's August, that's why the windows are open, and that's why the fields look like the way they do. If you're sort of going for that, then I think the best thing is to research that time of year. And obviously, the best time to research that time of year is when it comes round. You don't have to rush into these things if you've got time to do it and wait and take your time until you're going to get to the scenery part. Because I quite like as much as I sort of say don't model summer, let's try and do some other things. I quite like the end of August with the yellow fields when all the harvest is being brought in, all the wheat is in our area, the fields are just yellow, golden yellow, and if you've got the green of the hedgerows, and I think it's such a pretty sort of time of year, and it's something I really want to model at some point. And I always forget to do it, but I was just like, I look at the fields and think I should really take some photos of this right now because in a month's time there'll be brown stubble, and it won't look like this anymore, and then I'll have to wait until next year to get some photos, or you can try and Google something, but sometimes it's best to sort of just do it while you're there, kind of thing. So that'll be my recommendation. If you know what you're going to model and it's that right time of year to do it, just take as many photos for reference because there's nothing better than using the actual world itself to make your model.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, here we are. It's a bit of a short one, this one, but I think we've sort of covered what we wanted to talk about, really, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean we've got a lot of stuff coming up, and we didn't want to necessarily get a guest on and sort of flood the show when we do have things coming in the next few weeks. We've got a big episode next week, which I'm dreading. I got PTSD the second you mentioned it, but yeah, I mean, let us know. I think this is one of those episodes where we're going to ask for your opinion. Share on Instagram, share on Facebook, because I am really trying to use Facebook more. Like, I am really sorry to anyone who listens to us and is a Facebook user. I'm trying my hardest to engage more on Facebook. I'm getting there, more so on my own Facebook page, but I'm trying to do it, and I'm hopefully going to start using the podcast side of it more. But yeah, I want to know what you do when you're modeling scenes, or do you not really mind? Are you happy with you do your lighting, you do your back scene, and that's it, you never think of it again? I mean, obviously, if you're filming it, you can add effects of rain and thunder and lightning. I mean, does anyone out there have a really good sort of lighting rig that does lightning? Neil?
I've seen someone on YouTube, it was a few years ago, but now you mention it, they had one corner of their layout which was a lightning storm passing over. And I think, if I recall, they used real water as like a sprinkler system just constantly running in the corner. So it was like a cotton wool cloud, and it was like some flashing effects in it, like real water just dropping down for this thunderstorm in the corner. It was interesting, to say the least.
Oh, well, there you go. See, I've rekindled something in your head.
Yeah. So there. But it'd be wonderful to see what other people think and what they do and their sort of approaches to the seasons, I suppose.
Yeah.
There we are. Right, shall we take a short break and then come back for the old diary?
Yeah, let's.
You there? Oh, me? Do you like model railways? Yes, that's why I'm listening to the Model Rail Replacement Podcast. Do you like comedy? No, that's why I'm listening to the Model Rail Replacement Podcast. If you like model railways and comedy, head over to BugglesKellyStation.com. From Dad's Army to Will Hay, Laurel and Hardy to the island of Sodor. Add a comedy cameo to your model railway today. All right, thanks. Buggles Kelly Station. You won't be wasting your time.
Well, there we are. Yeah. As I say, it was a bit of a short discussion there, but obviously we did ramble on for quite some time in a news-free intro. So, it all balances out. So, also, it's the end of the season. We're tired. So.
I mean, yeah. Like I say, we've been working in the background for this Christmas special.
Yes. Lord knows what we'll do for the next Christmas special, but there we are. That's a problem for next year.
Didn't we joke that we were going to be doing Muppet Treasure Island?
It was either Muppets Treasure Island or Muppets Pirates of the Caribbean or something silly like that, wasn't it?
But we had to continue with the Muppets theme, didn't we?
Not even Christmassy.
That's fine. They've had their Christmas feel. That'll be next year. If you're a non-Christmas person, it's the one for you.
Merp Die Hard.
Gremlins, the ultimate Christmas film.
Not a Christmas film.
It is set on Christmas Eve. It is a Christmas film. The whole Gremlins movie is set on Christmas Eve. Do not tell me it's not a Christmas film.
Look, Die Hard is quite clearly a Christmas film, but Gremlins, I don't know about that.
Well, if you're going to say Die Hard is, then you can say Gremlins is.
Yeah, but one movie's enjoyable and the other one's just... Right, should I get the diary out?
No way. This might be the biggest disagreement we've ever had. Gremlins is a great film. Anyway, Expedition Diary.
Diary. Right then, for the weekend of Saturday the 13th and Sunday the 14th of December, we have the Chantley Gray Clun Valley Christmas Model Railway Show 2025 at the Clun Memorial Hall in the Playing Fields in Clun, Shropshire. The Cupar District Model Railway Clubs at Cupar's Christmas Model Rail Show 2025, the Corn Exchange at St Catherine Street in Cupar and Fife. There's the RGB Models Grand Opening Day. That's also on the 13th at Unit 4, Brown Street in Haywood, Lancashire. We have the West Midlands Narrow Gauge Group December monthly meeting at the Four Oaks Methodist Church Hall, 155 Lynchfield Road, Sutton Coldfield, West Midlands. John Sutton Models Steam at Rowington at the Rowington Village Hall in Rowington Green in Warwick, Warwickshire. All weekend, it's the big one. It's the big show for December. As always, I think some people insulted these people by saying that's it, all the big shows are done. But of course, Manchester Model Railway Society is having the Christmas Model Railway Show Manchester 2025 at the Sugden Centre in Sydney Street, Manchester, Greater Manchester. Sunday the 14th, Model Railway Quest, the Clacton Model Railway Show at the Clacton Leisure Centre in Vista Road, Clacton-on-Sea in Essex. This is Dawn Quest's little exhibition from Model Rail Quest. So, yeah. Plenty of parking spaces there, 200 of them, and a few layouts too to go with. So that's a good day out.
Some sad news about the Lady Killers layout. If you didn't see it, they suffered some water damage via the trailer. So if you're looking for the Lady Killers layout to be there, unfortunately they've had to find a replacement for it. So I'm really sorry to hear that, Dawn. But hopefully everything goes okay.
Yeah, that's a shame. Oh dear. Oh. What a way to end the exhibition diary there, Sam.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah. And that's all for this up and coming weekend. So, there we are. Right then. That's it then, Sam. So we just do our usual sign off and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, let's switch the lights off and shut the door.
That's it. Yeah. Well, we still got next week's episode before we can close up, I suppose, and then the Christmas special. But yeah, two left, and then we're done for season 5. Can you believe it?
Oh, that's a good point, actually. The Tom Marshall, Buggles Kelly Station, has made a fantastic poster to advertise the Christmas special. One thing I do ask of everybody is if you're not going to share the link for the Just Giving, that's absolutely fine. I can't fault you for that. But please, 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 if you could share the poster to spread awareness for the episode, I would be greatly appreciative of it. And so would everyone who has put a lot of hard work into this episode. Share it, tell your friends, tell your family, and make sure that you tell your little friend who begins with A, who usually lives in your kitchen or somewhere in your house, that you want to hear that episode. And yeah, just shout about it. And especially to your model railway friends, tell them, look, it's for a bit of fun. It's for Christmas. It's a bit for charity. Have a listen to this. We would be super, super grateful if you could.
Indeed. Yes. It's... Yeah, a lot of hard work put in by a lot of people that have been very kind to give up their time for it. So, yeah, hopefully you enjoy it. But there we are. That's in 2 weeks' time. Until then, we're going to be coming back next week with Fight Club. Sam's very worried about that. We go Christmas shopping for our friends. So that'll be fun. But all for now, then, we can just do our social media call out. So let's do it in a different order. I'm going to do me first for once this week, because we used to do it in different order, and then we just sort of fell in a pattern, I suppose. If you want to find me, it's Weston Sigelman on YouTube or Instagram. How can they find you, Sam?
If you want to get hold of me, it is Emperors_Path on Instagram, Emperors Path on Facebook, or alternatively, you can find me on YouTube at Emperors Path. Model Rail Replacement Podcast, how can they get hold of you?
Well, the Model Rail Replacement podcast, I was a bit concerned that it may have just disappeared off the face of the earth because, Sam got locked out of the account and he left me in charge of it, which wasn't very productive at all, to be honest. So if you've been trying to contact us through Instagram on the Model Rail Replacement podcast and you haven't had a response, it's because, I was left in charge. But Sam's back in now, so all systems go, hopefully. Apart from that, you can email us. I am in charge of the email, so I do check them. It's modelrailrp@outlook.com. Obviously, as Sam said, we are on Facebook, and he is trying to improve our Facebookness.
Stick with it. It was great. Stick with it.
Facebookness, our presence there. And obviously, we're on Spotify and all the other podcast places because you're listening to us right now. That closes this show up then, Sam, for this week. Shall we go Christmas shopping?
Yeah. Do we have to go to the high street?
Well, if someone wants to get in contact with us very quickly, modelrailrp@outlook.com and sponsor next week's episode, I'm looking at you, TMC. We'll just go shopping at your shop and tell people what wonderful products we're buying for our friends. There we go.
Other retailers are available.
I think I've got some sponsorship.
Yeah.
There we are. Right then. I'm signing off. Hopefully we've been entertaining, informative, and replaced your model railway, if only just for a little bit. I've been James, and with me has been Sam. Thanks for listening.
This service terminates here. Please ensure you take all of your personal belongings with you.
Hello, listeners. We've got some very exciting news. Do you want to be part of the podcast? Do you want to join the team? Well, an exciting opportunity has come up to allow you to be part of the Model Rail Replacement podcast. And here's Sam with the details.
This episode is brought to you by Patreon. A huge thank you to our Patreons for their support. If you'd like to help support the show, you can head over to Patreon and search Model Rail Replacement Podcast, where you can show your support and be part of the team.
Hurry, there's unlimited places.